All right, guys. Without even wasting any time, I think while the news is still fresh, I think let's touch on Durban July. Um, I mean, with the Durban July, I've got so much I can say with the event. I remember 2022, I posted, uh, I made a post uh, the Sunday after Durban July, obviously with my review on the style and the fashion at the Durban July. And I got some not so nice responses uh, with regards to my review. And I think I also tried to be as respectful as I can be in articulating my review. And my review was especially with the gens. I think 2022 was the year or the season where tuxedos were making a big comeback or they were on a trend. So every guy just wanted to wear a tuxedo regardless the occasion. And of course, you gotta give it to my fellow brothers who are in the tailoring business, whereby they created a niche, or they created the desire to for one to want to wear one, because there was a time my brothers were posting all types of fabrics that one could make a tuxedo of. And of course, when such content goes on the internet, we see it, and you are kind of building your inspiration to say, on my next event or occasion, I want to look like that dude. And then of course, we some tuxedos, we see them from international figures or whoever it may be. And then from there, that's where you probably go and consult and get a outfit. And with this regard, the guys went with tuxedos a lot. I mean, we see the likes of Oskambo. He rocked a Mtogo Masondo DM Spoke tuxedo, uh, and that was in 2022. Rocking, well tailored. We saw the likes of Julius Malema as well. He rocked a master suit. He looked classic. However, um, the review with regards to that came from me saying that um, Durban July is a horse racing event, and it's an event that happens during the day, and it happening in KZN, although it's in the middle of winter, but it's not the case in Durban. Durban, the weather is so favorable. It's a tropical uh, province, so the weather is quite sunny, a bit humid. So it being a daytime event, you wanna wear something that is as light as it can be, especially if you're gonna be wearing a formal regalia or a formal attire. You wanna look or you wanna feel as light as possible. Yes, it may look like it's a three-piece suit or it's a suit, but the fabric makes the difference. The fabric will be something that's gonna make you feel comfortable and not finding yourself feeling hot and all of that. So with the tuxedo, traditionally a tuxedo It's known as a dinner jacket. And a dinner jacket meaning this is an outfit where you wear it on evening occasions, be it your gala dinners, be it red carpet events, but evening settings. And simply because the fabrics of a tuxedo or a dinner suit is quite heavy. Now, the heavier the fabric, it and plus the weather, it's gonna make you feel uncomfortable. And there's nothing off-putting than wearing a suit and looking good, and then after an hour, you are taking off the jacket. I'm like, it's like going to school wearing a tie, and then when you get there, you like, nah, that is, you know, for me as a gentleman, for me, as a person who is into style, you want to wear something that you can be able to wear it the whole day. Not just wear something and then you feel like, no, it's too hot or this tie is too tight. Now, tie is supposed to stay right there on the neck, keep it there, and if you're gonna now wear something and then you're taking it off, because the minute you take off your tuxedo jacket, it means you're gonna take off your bow tie as well, so it defies the assignment of the day that you had an outfit, now you're taking it off because you're feeling hot, you're feeling uncomfortable. But if we made the right choices with regards to what to wear when you go to a daytime event of such caliber, then I don't think you'd be facing such, complications during the day. And when I started making these reviews with regards to the gens and what they wore, people were like, no, you are like just, having FOMO, you're jealous because we're not there. I'm like, okay, guys, it's not even about being there. It's just a matter of we'll always have criticism with regards to fashion and style. There's people who would criticize who wore what at the Oscars, who wore what at the Met Gala. Are you going to say that person is jealous because they were not there? Not everybody's going to be at the Oscars. Not everybody's going to be at the Met Gala, so it's not even about that. It's just about, when you are well invested in style and fashion, you are going to have, you know, some reviews, some viewpoints with regards to who wear what and how and stuff like that. And that was just me saying, you know, the guys look well tailored. However, I just feel that tuxedos or dinner jackets are not meant for a daytime event. I mean, we are seeing even now we see people getting married and they are wearing tuxedos. And obviously it's a daytime wedding event and the guys are wearing tuxedos. They look nice, but sometimes, when it comes to fashion and style, you want to understand these things, the practicalities of what you wear. When I started, I mean, even the inspiration for me to start blogging and writing these articles was the fact that I used to dress up, but I didn't know what I was wearing. I was just looking, whether at that time I'd be looking uh, dandy, whether I would be looking fashionable, or I'd be looking stylish. That was just me dressing. So it came to a point where I wanted to know what I'm wearing, be it the shirt that I'm wearing, what type of a shirt is it, what type of a shirt collar is it, be it a tie knot, what type of a tie knot is it, the jacket, is it, what lapel is it, the fabric, those type of things. So that's where it all started. So now that I started learning and understanding the craft and the sartorialism into menswear, we start seeing obviously these events, and we start obviously kind of curating what the people are wearing. And that was my take to say, hey, okay, cool. The guys look cool. The guys look nice. However, I was hoping that, and I would say at that point in time, you give it to them. Tuxedos were on a trend at that time. So when you were wearing one, you were riding with the trend, and it was good. It was giving you, the correct or the nice feedback, or the right feedback that you would want at that time, you know. And of course, that was 2022. And for that, I was like, okay, cool. Let me do my interpretation of a horse racing event in my own understanding, and let's see if my interpretation makes sense. Okay. And of course, it's a horse racing event. 2023, we planned, and we came through. In the morning, I wore a three-piece suit, meaning in the morning I wore, it was actually this suit. I wore this suit with a yellow double-breasted waistcoat with a white lapel and gold metallic buttons, and put on a tie. A, a the shirt was sky blue with white collar. So it was a classic, traditional horse racing ensemble. You know, obviously taking the inspiration from the Royal Ascot. And there was a time I remember people were saying, stop comparing the Royal Ascot with Durban July. We are Africans, we do things the African way. I'm like, cool. Definitely I agree, but the question here was, do it, be it African, be it Italian or American or African, but let us understand, the practicalities of fashion and style, you know. And at this point in time, we were talking fabrics, you know, weather conditions, and how you put on an outfit for a particular season or an occasion. And this time around was the Durban July, So that was my outfit, and that was in the morning. Went in, set my bets for the horses, and then after that, obviously the afternoon time is the party time, And again, yet as much as I knew that the fabric choice of my suit, and it being a three-piece suit and me being in Devon, it makes sense to wear that in the morning. Like when they go to the Royal Ascot, there's something called the morning coat. The morning coat is meant for the morning when the guys go in, do the horses. Come the afternoon, the outfit changes. And so it was with me. The afternoon, I went in with a yellow two-piece pig lapel jacket, no tie, striped shirt, brown loafers, or 10 loafers. No, yeah, those were 10. Simple, elegant, nothing much happening there. Was just giving color. Obviously, color choice. You you play around. You look at your wardrobe. Which are the colors that you haven't rocked, and then if you did before, if you're gonna do it again, how are you gonna style this one? How is this one going to be different to the previous? So I thought, I haven't done yellow, and seeing that, the color yellow is fitting into the theme of Hollywood Beds, shout out to them. They're doing a good job, especially with a lot of podcasters. Um, so you know, it was between me doing a purple suit and a yellow suit. So I thought, let's go yellow. Yellow would 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 blend in nicely in the Savannah Maquis. Shout out to them. They came out guns blazing this year. So it's unfortunate I couldn't make it, but shout out to them. They did so well. Um, so the yellow suit was the order of the afternoon, and it was a nice, free, light fabric. I could go around. I could go to different marquees. My outfit was just easy going and cool. In the evening, I thought, hey, cool. Let us now place in the tuxedo. So in the evening, I put on my tuxedo, with a jacquard, silkish, velvetish finish, and we went to the opening of signature restaurant in Oceans Mall. Nice setup, chilled vibes, dinner, and all of that. And the nice thing with when you are wearing a tuxedo, you know, I prefer the old school way of wearing a bow tie, which is the self knotted tie, not the ready made one. I mean, the ready made ones, like I used to say in my articles, that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the ready made tuxedos, especially these bold butterfly bow ties. It saves time. For people like us, we are I'd say I'm a perfectionist. Even with my tie knot, right? I want it to be in a particular manner. The length of it, I would want both ends of the tie to be level. So obviously, when you keep wearing suits, it becomes natural when you start putting up these things. When you're just doing your knot, when you're putting in a pocket square, such things becomes normal. It becomes your normal thing to do. You know, they become easy. So for somebody who, especially a bow tie is not something that you can just wear. You'd have an occasion to wear a bow tie. So wearing a self-knotted bow tie, it will take forever for you to set it up, and you've got dinner plans, so it might take a bit of time. So wearing a ready-made bow tie is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So for me, the reason why I enjoy the self-knotted bow tie is that later in the evening, maybe after dinner, we like, let's go and groove. I can still stay in my outfit. I don't have to go back to my place and change. I can just untie the bow tie, loosen up the few buttons there, and I'm easy to go. I'm good to go. And at times you find that there's more accessories whereby if I'm gonna take off my jacket, then I know at least there's a bit of accessories there doing the most. Got your suspenders, again, be it suspenders, be it the clip-on ones or the self-buttoned ones as well. Those are accessories. That's some of the things you add in. Even with the jacket, at times one would prefer not to have a pocket square. Sometimes you'd want to have, when you have a pocket square, you wouldn't want to have a lapel pin. Sometimes you'd have the three of them, be it a tie, lapel pin. And again, it depends how subtle it is. If you look at uh, my my lapel pin is so subtle, you don't see that much. And if you look at how my pocket square is picking, it's just picking just a bit. So those are the the fine lines when it comes to styling your outfit on that day. So there, those were my interpretation of how I want to put out the Durban July horse racing event, you know, looks, to say that blend in with the situation, blend in with the occasion, don't try and be too much, and understand, the occasion, the setup, you know, the weather conditions, the seasons. And once you got there, it becomes easier for you to start drawing up having your inspiration board as to say, this is how I want to look for this coming Devon July, and da 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 da. And then you also have in mind, be it designers or tailors or stylists that can pull up, you know, and give you, that idea that you have, you know. So that was that, and just obviously to level it up, last year, no, this year we went to the King's Plate, and of course the King's Plate, yet another iconic horse racing event. It's it's a bit subtle as compared to Devon July. There's more tradition to it. There's more rules. Especially when it comes to dress code and all of that. So it's more subtle. Whereas with Devon July, there's so many things happening there, and again, having an event like Devon July where there's so many happening, you it is very important to be as comfortable as possible. And talking about comfort, um, we've been having these conversations with um, the trend of wearing a suit with sneakers. Obviously to some people it looks comfortable, it looks cool, but I don't think wearing a suit and sneakers, hear me well, is for everyone. you know for me personally, I don't think I can pull off that look. You know, I think I'd look like I've forgotten my shoes. And since I only have a pair of sneakers, then I had to wear the sneakers. That's how I feel I would look when I wear a suit and sneakers. That's why when it comes to collaborations and all of that, which is probably story for another day, you know, where you'd find yourself collaborating with a brand and they say we want you to wear your suits and sneakers. You find yourself now looking mediocre because you are trying to please the brand. So obviously with regards to Devon July, you want to be comfortable, but comfort also comes from you know wearing shoes that that you are comfortable in them, and you'll be able to go to all these marquees without you finding yourself getting blisters and stuff like that. So comfort is key, especially for your Devon July, because it's going to be a long day and a long night. So you want to be as comfortable as possible, even if it means that you'd wear an outfit and then later on you change to a different one. But I'd rather change the outfit, excuse me, and wear a different one rather than coming with an outfit and now the outfit had a tie. Now I'm taking off the tie. I'm loosening down the tie. It looks, take that tie off if ever, it's too tight. Don't loosen it up and just leave it there. You look like, it doesn't look nice. And again, with the jackets as well, when you find the right type of fabrics for the jacket, you wouldn't find yourself having those uncomfortable moments where you're feeling hot or the jacket is feeling tight. Or again, obviously that comes from how your jacket was tailored. you know So that was that, So fast forward to 2025, I was really looking forward to seeing what people are going to be wearing at the Durban July. And you see, the nice thing about the Durban July is that before the Durban July, there's these events that builds up to Durban July, you know, especially for the Joburg based, right? Let's take out King's Plate, which is first weekend of Jan. Take that one out. But let's look at around, say, March, April, you know, you find these polo events where you see, a nice platform, a nice event, daytime event where people are there, they can show off their style inspiration, their can express their fashion sense, And when we see these events, it gave me some hope to say, hey, I think the boys are gonna pull up and they're gonna be looking, you know. But unfortunately, I was not. Yeah, I think I was expecting too much from my brothers because unfortunately I didn't see much. Unfortunately I didn't see much. The Durban July, uh, for some, especially the gents in the sartorial space, they would rather dress people rather than them attending the event, because now obviously Durban July has this, you know, that perception of, you know, it's a festival for ballers. That's where it's like the Champions League of ballers, whereby the guys now gonna be showing up there, pulling up there, and now we're gonna see who takes the Ballon d'Or of bowling. Who's gonna be having the most expensive drinks, maybe the ride, what car they're gonna be coming down there with, you know, who's gonna be at their table, what marquees or how many marquees are they gonna be invited to, those type of things. So for my brothers in the sartorial space, they tend to, try and be a bit far away from that, and simply because they don't want to find themselves being associated with being a baller, because for them, it's not even about that. And when I say that, it's because uh, if you look at an event called PT Uomo, PT Uomo, it's an event that happens twice a year in Italy, in the city of Florence. There's the winter edition, which happens in January, and there's the summer edition that happens in June, right? And with this event, I've I've learned so much from that event, from brands, from people, you know. It's just an amazing place to be. Again, PT, another story for another day. However, with with regards to the Durban July, this is another event that I fully believe that we can, we can get a lot of inspiration from this event, you know. And it's so nice that this event happens in June, like second week of June, right? Then July happens first weekend of July. Maybe it's not enough time for you to drive inspiration. However, there's previous events, there's previous editions, summer editions of PT where one can look at how the guys would be dressed on a summer's day. Obviously, being a Durban July, it's always a hot, sunny day. So when you look at the guys at PT Womo, They are dressed in suits throughout the day. And the temperatures there, you are looking at minimum 35, at like 10 a.m. in the morning, 85, and the sun stays up, say, until like 9 p.m., So you'd see people wearing suits, and you'd ask yourself, aren't these people getting hot? Not necessarily. They are probably feeling hot the same way as that guy who's wearing a t-shirt and shorts, because the fabrics that this guy is wearing, you know, it's breathable, slide, those type of things. So I always see PT Womo as that encyclopedia that you can just open up and find inspiration, style inspiration, or whichever occasion, you know. Okay, maybe we can take away wedding, but then again, if you are invited to a wedding in summer, there's a bit of inspiration that you can take from there, because you don't necessarily have to be wearing a tuxedo at the wedding. And if it's a daytime event, again, we've spoken about it, that there's no need for you to be wearing a tuxedo during the day. It's a very heavy fabric, and you're gonna feel hot and uncomfortable, So that's that, So looking at the inspiration that one can take from these events coming up, and having these events that you'd attend, these polos before the Durban July, you can do your trial and error and say, okay, at the whatever polo, I wore this. Okay, how can I elevate that look to this? So that was my other point, that fortunately the guys, some of my brothers in the sartorial space, tend to avoid attending Durban July and just rather dress the people and go there to represent their brands. But even with that said, it's unfortunate that some of the guys that were wearing these brands, they didn't pull it off the way that that guy of that particular tailor brand or suit brand could have, you know. So I just feel that, yes, I mean, Durban July is our pride and joy of an event. It's something very that we can boast about. I think a lot of, if you go to America, has their iconic horse racing event. The UK has their own iconic event. In the UAE, there's an iconic um, horse racing event. Australia has one, So we are there, When we're talking horse racing events, Durban July is gonna pop up, And being that, I feel, my brothers in the sartorial space, I feel they need to contribute to that. And by me saying contribute to that is you going there and showing face, you know it's it will make business sense, because you'll also be there networking, because they're gonna like, hey, I've seen you on Instagram, and you're doing business there already, and also it's nice in terms of networking and PR, you know it's also nice for you to be seen, um, and at least people can get to see the man behind. Let me make an example: the man behind Oscar Mbo sartorial style, then they get to see, oh, Togo Masondo, oh, nice to meet you, da 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 da. Now there's business already, it's networking, and all types of things like that. So yeah, I feel we also need to be there. We don't have to be there to go show how much we can afford those expensive bottles of champagne. No, we don't have to. Stick to the business of the day, which is fashion, which is menswear, and in the evening you can go back to your hotel and sleep. The next day, go to a restaurant, create content, and then go back to your normal life. So that's how I see it. That's how I look at it. But yeah, I mean, this year I was really, really, really looking forward to seeing amazing style. Yeah, I think again another thing that that becomes tricky for people to pull off an amazing look. The theme, it's something that you know makes it tricky because now this person wants to go with the theme. On the other hand, him trying to go with the theme, it ends up you know changing the storyboard, the inspiration board as to what do I want to look like or how do I want to look like. And now the theme is the Marvels of Mzansi, and you're thinking Marvel, you're already thinking superheroes, and like now are you gonna rock up there looking like uh, who are these guys? Captain America. You can't because now obviously they're saying the Marvels of Mzansi. So meaning, how can you interpret you being a superhero? Is it necessary to follow the theme? No, not really. You know, you can always keep it simple, nice and classy, and just go there. So yeah, I think with the theme, it I think the theme it blends in nicely with ladies. With the ladies, it blends in nicely for them to go with the theme. We've got amazing designers that went to school. Some are self-taught, and when it comes to you know creating an outfit for a theme, it becomes you know easy for them. They know. That's why when you look at your Durban July, you know it's always the ladies that are trending, with their outfits more than the gents, because with the gents, I mean, let's face it, the celebrities that are out there, you know, I'll also make an example and say, are you expecting Kabza the Small to be wearing a suit? Kabza the Small is going to be busy DJing in these marquees. He wants to be as comfortable as possible, and you can wear these sneakers, jean, or whatever. He's cool. He's there to work. He's not there to show off his style sense. However, there are those celebrities that we always look forward to seeing. Like your Oskambo. He has made a name for himself. So I wouldn't say there's pressure on him to come up with. I mean, I look at Oskambo uh, at the Paris Fashion Week. He attended the what's this brand? Amiri, yeah, Amiri Fashion Week, fashion show, and the guy looked like he lives in Monaco. He looked so wealthy. He looked rich, you know. He looked like a baller. Like he looked like he deserved to be in those spaces. So obviously when you see that, and you think, okay, that was just Paris Fashion Week. Hey, now we are excited now to see Oscar coming at the Durban July, and then boom, you know. I guess maybe it's because now uh, he's a father now, so he needs to. mm, But I don't know, man. I mean, with style, it got nothing to do with it. Honestly speaking, with style, you can pull it off. I mean, we look at PT Uomo, we see old old guys there, the old bullies, they are still killing it. You look at your Weibo, you look at your Lino, you look at your Mateo, those guys, you look at both France, those guys are killing it, you know, at their age, and those guys are easily over 60, you know, but their style is just timeless, doesn't fade. So yeah, unfortunately, man, with regards to the Devon July, the gents didn't do much this time around. Maybe there are people that I didn't see, and that's a thing. That's a thing again that um, if you are not attending, it will feel like the guys didn't do justice because already on the internet they're gonna be showing the popular faces, the popular names, and once you see them and they didn't, go up the ladder a bit in terms of style, it kind of leaves, excuse me, kind of leaves one a little bit disappointed. you know I mean, Oscar has been killing it this year, and I look at his latest uh, content where he did it with Togo in the streets of Santin, them wearing winter ensemble. Those guys they look like villains, they look like mafias, mafias in Santin. Three-piece suit with a coat, the cigar, it was a feeling, it was a movie. So obviously when you start seeing that, you are expecting Aimbo to come there killing it. I mean, last year he was effortless, especially him and his friend, they looked, you know. Fortunately, with last year, I was just a little bit sad that they got there late, because if you look at their content for Devon July, their pictures were taken just before sunset or in the evenings, So I just felt like their outfit was complementing a daytime event. But the fact that the content was taken in the afternoon to late evening, late afternoon to evening, it killed it as well there, And I mean, I'm sorry to be using Oscar as a, what do they call it, as a scenario or a case study, but him being one of the well-known, stylish public figures, it kind of makes sense to use him as a case study. I mean, no no harm intended. It's just, us getting to understand style and events and all of that. We get to learn from these, and that's why I say that it would be nice for the gents. I used to do these events called Suitable Sundays, where all these gents, in the tailoring business would come through and would be all dressed up in suits. And one thing that you'd always hear from almost everyone in the room would be that some of these guys are not even in the suit business. Some are like doctors, lawyers, and but they love the sartorial style. And them loving it, this was the platform for them to come and express their style, you know. And it was nice to be in an environment, where when people are just walking past, they're like, hey, what's happening there? Why are those guys in suits? And it would be nice because there's no hands there. It's just the guys. Like, what's happening there? It was a nice, event, which I really do miss it as well. But hopefully it shall return. But with that said, you find that you are somebody who is into suits, but your friends that you hang out with, they're not into suits. So you tend to look a little bit odd when you guys are going out, and then you, of all the guys are wearing their stylish, high end fashion brands, t shirt, jeans, and sneakers, and there you are in a suit. You know, I was once asked a question at time at that time, I'm with my mates and the boys are all relaxed, all chilled, and I'm in a jacket, shirt. I'm not even wearing a tie. It was just a jacket, shirt, pants, And I go to the men's bathroom and the guys were like, "Eh, dude." The first guy said to me, "You look like you're going to a matric banquet." I'm like, "Yo, old Bali like myself going to a matric banquet." Well, I'll take that as a compliment that at least I still look young to look like I'm going to a matric banquet. And the other guy said, "Hey, are you going to the Lobola negotiation, or were you getting married today? Why are you looking so formal?" You know. And again, it's like, okay, this is what formal looks like, you know, to an ordinary gent in South Africa. Formal, when you are wearing a jacket and a shirt and pants, that's formal. You know, whereas there's different types of formal. Again, story for another day. We are still at the Durban July, and yeah, fortunately, man, this year. Okay, let's leave Oscar alone. Oscar put on a suit there. I was okay. Let's leave Oscar. Let's go to the others. Teko Modise. Teko Modise is another gentleman. Obviously, he's in the sports. I won't say sports entertainment, but he's in sports. Soccer analyst and all of that. Teko has been through different suit brands, and we've seen how I'm not sure if when he goes to these suit brands, it's him telling the stylist or the tailor that this is what I want to look like, or is the tailor that says, here's a suit, go out there and shine, you know, because you tend to see different styles from different brands. He doesn't come out looking almost the same, but he what I can say is, his style compared to Oscar is different when it comes to sartorial, when it comes to suits and stuff like that. you know you'd see Deco suits are more modern, modern in a sense that it's not your traditional notch lapel suit, formal. I'm sure he did have one or two looking nice and formal, but he tends to now go what they would call it streetwear, spicing it up and putting this and that and that. And if you look at his outfit for for the Durban July, and I'm like, okay, the Cape. I guess the Cape is the superhero. That's where now the inspiration is coming in because now he's wearing a cape, in the suit, and then there's like embellishments, like I don't know, those were lapel pins or things that were incorporated into the suit. Not quite sure who did his outfit because, like I said, Oscar has been, um, the comedies has been around. He's been around with these tailors. So yeah, I don't know who I don't know who he was with this time around. But yeah, I just saw the cape and I'm like, okay, right? Next. Oh my goodness. DJ Fresh. Again, it was nice to see the gents putting on suits. And when I look at the color the color choices, it gave it was something that a lot of people spoke of when they spoke of PT Uomo, the summer edition for 2025. That the colors were your earthy colors, your browns, your beige, your tan, your khaki. So I guess maybe the inspiration is coming there. I'm just giving them pointers for that. But also a cape. Oh, I don't know that one, that cow. Is it the Ankole or what? Hey, but yeah, man. Already, DJ Fresh is a big guy, the big dog, you know. So whatever you're gonna wear, you want it to, barring, you want it to be, okay, we leave English a little bit, but you want it to make you a bit slimmer and taller, you know. So him wearing a suit, good, you know. But I feel the cape just made him look like, was that villain guy in the Marvel with the things. He looked like that guy. He looked big. And thanks to that car he was wearing, it made him look so big. Man. Some of these like so yeah, man. I saw it was those capes, and then I guess obviously from the celebrities or public figures, those were the three that I got to criticize. I saw a bit of Scoop Makatini, guys. I've been searching, I've been looking for a picture where there's a Scoop Makatini. The man wore a suit there. Oof. I saw a bit of it. I didn't see his whole. I just saw him turning. I was like, "Hey, Scoop, is that you?" He looked dapper. He looked thin. You know, when I saw that bit of what Scoop Makatini wore, to me it says he took a bit of inspiration from the Met Gala. The Met Gala. Hey, the Met Gala, man. This time around, it opened a platform for gents. Usually these events, they're always you know focusing on what ladies are wearing, but this time around the Met Gala, had a podium for gentlemen too. Gents, this is you guys. Show us what you got. And yeah, man. I wish I could get a picture of Scoop. and see how he looked. But I think he's one guy who looked dapper there, you know. And yeah, I mean, the others, you know, there's this there's this thing. It became quite popular and infamous at Pitu Womo. They say the Piti peacocks. You know, the peacocks would be the guys in colorful suits and florals and all of that, you know. So they would call them the peacocks, you know, because they want to stand out, you know, want to become the rose among the thorns. Yeah. So I saw a couple of guys, you know, obviously being the peacocks there, you know, with prints and bright colors, you know. But yeah, from the men's side, yeah, this time around, I wasn't so chuffed, you know. Usually, I would have one or two guys or three that I would put out there and say my favorite male Durban July outfits, my favorite ladies Durban July outfits, and unfortunately this year I could only have the ladies, you know. And because with the ladies, I mean, hey, it, they can they get away with murder with the ladies, you know, because fashion with ladies it's broad, you know, and they can defy, you know, the rules, you know, they can break and bend the rules a bit, and it works out for them, you know. I mean, for the ladies, I mean, I don't have to be, you know, criticizing there. I'm sure there are platforms out there that, you know, fashion journalists and curators, they can, you know, have a platform to talk about this. But again, with the ladies, for me, ball gowns, it's a no-no for me at the Durban July. It's a definite no-no, ball gowns. Because again, it becomes that thing of, and now with the ladies, you know, I didn't want to go to the ladies, but so be it, because I feel this the audience won't just be men, so I think it's fair to also touch on the ladies and what they wore, you know. And I'm seeing this trend, you know. When I spoke about ladies with regards to my review, Devin July, on the lady side of things, the ladies always wore these ball gowns, floor sweeping dresses, like I call them, you know. And again, the designs and everything, absolutely amazing. However, the the theme and the occasion, you know, it almost clashes, you know. It makes people, it makes the outfit become tricky to, you know, because you're trying to keep up with the theme, and and to also look amazing, you know. In you looking amazing, again, ladies will always go for ball gowns. And I remember the 2022 one, that will always be my all-time favorite horse racing event look from Minnie Dlamini, when she wore, I don't know if it was a dress or a skirt, short heels, hat, or bouquet, which usually horse racing event, it was a thing to be wearing a hat at the horse racing event. Practically speaking, it's a hot sunny day, you know, not summer, but it's a hot sunny day, you know. A hat, you know, makes perfect sense. I understand sometimes now the hair needs to look a certain way, you know, but you know, that accessory of having a hat at the horse racing event, it just makes you look classy, timeless, you know. And if you look at Minnie's outfit, it was practical, it was easy, simple. Public figure should be invited to multiple marquees. For her, you know, You don't even have to ask her to pose and take a picture because her outfit doesn't need it. She can just be walking, and you, as a photographer, you can just and catch it. Now, all these ball gowns, she must wait, unpack the dress, and there must be like five guys making sure that the dress is sitting the right way that it should look for the camera. Too much admin. And that's why now what you see with a lot of these uh, celebrities or public figures, their Durban July outfit, they do like a photo shoot before they get there, so that at least they know they've captured the outfit, look, and everything, and the theme, because now this year I saw a lot of leaves and trees and feathers. Feathers are always there, but I saw a bit of trees, and you know last year it was water and ice, all these amazing designs that the designers would do for these ladies are amazing, and shout out to all these designers for pulling out these looks. However, again, you know the admin of, you know it's it's an admin to be carrying the dress, and you're going to a marquee, and again, you're a public figure, you've been invited there, you didn't buy a ticket like some of us, who buys a ticket to be in the marquee. You are invited, so you need to show face. So now you are there. Now you must carry the dress and then go there. And you know that once you are there, there's people you're gonna meet there and network and socialize. Takes time. So now you must move to this one and rush to that other one. Too much admin. Okay. People wanna take pictures of you. They must set up the dress. Hectic. The parking lot at Greyville Racecourse is all the way there. You're walking inside a golf course. Mind you, Greyville is inside a golf course. Royal Devon Golf Club is inside there. So you are walking. I remember looking at that golf course, and me being a golfer, like seeing, oh, these hills are doing the hollow coring on the greens, because all those hills are chopping into the greens. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm sure the greenkeeper of this golf course, yeah, he when this time of the year comes, probably goes for canceling, just to because the damage that happens there, because it's cars, it's people, the traffic of people walking on the greens. People don't even know what green is. They just walk past whichever way. Obviously the only thing they will try and not go into is the bunker, because you're not gonna go into a sand pit, you know. But it's that, you know, walking from the parking lot all the way to the marquees, or to the main event, and then so that's why I say, for a horse racing event, especially like your Durban July, you wanna wear something that is very practical, and it's not gonna be you know, tedious of you carrying the dress, and you can't even walk properly. There's things like a tree or leaves or branches or feathers or wings, uh, so you don't want to find yourself in that situation where now you must, yes, you're trying to meet the theme, but be practical. Wear something that's you're gonna also be there with the people and enjoy and be able to dance. You know, I saw there was some of the dresses, they were longish, but you could detach the long sweeping piece of the dress, and then the dress becomes short. That makes perfect sense. It makes practical sense that at least when she's done with the photo shoots and all of that, she can take the longer part and just be on the shorter part. I'm not saying it be short and revealing, but let it be at the length where it's easier for you to walk without having to carry it and stuff like that. So So that was that. I saw uh, there was a quite good, yeah. My favorites was my favorite look was Loot Love. Ah, and how they made the dress. I was looking at some of the content that was posted by Morapeleng, how that dress was done, handmade. Every those not says those jewels that's on the dress, hand stitched one by one, and they look so uniformed on that dress, you know. So that dress for me, you know, and again, like I said, sometimes you want to add on a head, but some dresses they just don't need it. You know, the way it was just perfect. You know, the hair was complementing it. It looked so modern, you know. So yeah. Who else? The ladies. Um, oh, DJ Zintle had a two-piece suit, I think, or was it a jumpsuit or a suit? The big head. Yes, spoken about heads. Looked at that one. It was making a statement, but is it practical? You know, you don't want to be wearing a head that's going to be heavy again. You know, so so obviously the suit practical. She's a DJ. She's DJing all over. You know, so I think with her, that head was good. If again that head had somewhat of a detaching part, taking the wider brim and leaving just the normal brim, and she could just walk and do her things as soon as she's done with the photo shoots, you know, because sometimes these people are wearing designs from designers, you know, these are outfits from designers, and you want to showcase your craft, you know. But once you know the photos are taken and all of that, you know, you also want to keep the outfit, you know, throughout the day, but let it be practical because you're gonna be wearing it for the whole day, you know. So yeah, man, that's that. And who else from the ladies? Oh, I think it's Citelo. Citelo had like bluish, featherish outfit. When I first saw it, I was not a fan, um, but simply because the front she could walk without holding the dress. I was like, okay. And then I saw the part coming off. I was like, you see, practicality, you know. Who else? Yeah, man, there was quite a couple of ladies who, and unfortunately, you know, like there was these other public figures who wore the floor sweeping dresses. And again, shout out to the designers. It's your design, and again, you find that this is what the client wants, you know. You know. And it's a different story if it's a client coming to you, paying and making them what they want. And it's a different story when it's a client coming to you, not paying and demanding this type of an outfit, which you as a designer don't have a say. Icon. I think when it's these pro bonos and let me wear your outfit so I can give you publicity, which I don't think designers are still, uh, especially these designers that we are seeing now, they don't need publicity. The fact that you don't even see them at those events and see their work, they don't need publicity, you know, so they are doing well enough for themselves to be seeking clout or, you know, or that publicity that you're talking about, you know. But there are those, I mean, when you look at how they did Loot Love's outfit, I don't wanna be their lawyers or their fan, although I am a fan for their work. They're doing amazing work. But you could see there they said we're gonna make you look amazing. And they're like, I trust you as my designer, do your thing, you know. and it should be like that. And when you're a designer and you are given that platform to dress a public figure, and you can, do a thing, it's, you know try to do something that you haven't done before. Like that outfit, there's an outfit of a lady that was also making rounds. It was almost made out of straw, you know, had these shapes on it, you know. That outfit, was talking tradition, was talking, African, you know, and the look. She didn't even have heels on. She did the photo shoot barefoot. Awesome. Again, you can still, she could have, I mean, with that look, it's even nicer because I think the lady is a musician or an artist. She could be able to walk from marquee to marquee wearing those goat sandals, and she'd be able to work and socialize and have fun and enjoy the day, without the complications of the dress being long and da da da, da, so yeah, that was that. And again, I mean, I think these ball gowns are always going to be there. you know there are some ball gowns, I looked at them and like, if this one was short, like just above the knees, this dress is going to be amazing. And I guess maybe it's an opportunity for these people with this dress, depending whether they bought them or it was just for Durban July and they are taking them back to the designers. So if that's the case, and then a designer is able to, you know, cut the bottom part, make it shorter, and then reuse it. The bottom part incorporated somewhere else, and do some, you know. At least now you're giving that dress, because obviously it's a picking dress. People can see it. Once you make it shorter, and this you are giving it, you know more life. Because these dresses, they wear them once and they don't wear them again. So I wonder what they do with them. I mean, there's excelling girls out there who deserve to be in matric banquets that can wear these dresses. But anyway, that's also a story for another day. We're gonna talk about these metric dance and banquets. Yeah, uh, like I said, guys, it's going to be an interesting journey. It's gonna be. I'm quite excited to to be sitting here and sharing my views, because again, the reading of the articles about Durban July, you know, it's okay. But now people are more into having this type of interactions rather than sitting and reading an article about Durban July. So yeah, I guess that's it, man, from my side with regards to Durban July. Um, yeah, I think we can wrap it up from here. So yeah, guys, thank you. I mean, again, you're more than welcome to share your views in the comment section, and let's engage, and see that maybe next year, what are the differences you can see. Maybe next year I'll be there. Maybe next year we'll start seeing, um, some of these tailors and stylists there, and because there's a thing again with this, the Durban July and these events. There are tailors, okay, maybe not tailors, there are designers, well-known designers doing amazing work that would attend these events, and especially when we look at the designers that are doing ladies wear, you know, you can't expect them to look as amazing as their work. Sometimes for them just to dress up and look nice as a gent, it's okay. They don't have to be gaga about their looks and outfit. But it's also nice, to see designers looking amazing. Like, hey, that's Tula Cindy. Hey, that's Ephraim of Ephimol. Hey, that's Zamaswazi. That's Orapiling. That's Otis. When you start seeing these designers, and again, I mean, when it comes to fashion and all of that, especially on the woman's side of things, you can just make an amazing design. She wears it, she looks amazing. But on the gent side, hey, it's a lot. You design the suit. Doesn't mean that amazing suit that you've designed, this guy can just wear it and they look amazing. There's the style, you know, into it. The how you're gonna pull it off. For instance, let's say an international brand approaches me and say, "Hey, we'd like you to wear our suit for Durban July or King's Plate, whatever, or Beat." You know, these people or this brand, when it comes to you, it comes to you knowing exactly what you are capable of, because already they see that this guy is quite stylish. He knows how to play around with suits and stuff like that. So when this brand comes to you and gives you a suit, you know how you're gonna style it and make that suit pop out and give them the content that they need to put their brand out there. So even when a designer approaches a public figure, they probably just go there. They don't just maybe go there for the sake of that celebrity. It's gonna give them, numbers, but it must also be the thing of, it's a very stylish celebrity. If we can dress this, we are in the catalog of this celebrity that is we've we as a brand have started or we've designed for her or for him. So like when you look at your maps, Maps Maponyane has worn a lot of clothes from different designers. Maps has modeled for big brands. So dressing somebody like Maps, that, you know, again, you don't just want to give, especially when it comes to celebrities, celebrity, you don't just want to give them the outfit and say just wear it. No, you want to give them the outfit maybe after these consultations and everything, like how Tsepo Mashiko does it, of relevance for men. They would obviously do a consultation and everything, and then they will wear the suit at the studio. This is how you're gonna wear it, and come to speak of relevance. Relevance dressed DJ Maporis, and again, Pori is a big structured gent, and he looked proper, the pants, again, if you look at how he was for his birthday party, excuse me, he looked proper, pants well tailored, well structured, it's not tight and skinny. No, it was fitting properly. The shirt was fitting nicely. The jacket, So I'd say Pori was the only gent who kind of pulled it off to say, yeah, no, he looked, and I'm sorry that I'm only mentioning it now, but I just remembered, hey man, actually Pori looked proper, although we didn't see much of him. Again, we will go back to how he was dressed. He looked nice and tailored. However, and probably this is the reason why I didn't mention it. It goes back to the type of fabrics that was used for his look. You know, it was jacquard fabric. Whereby it's more giving tuxedo vibes. I don't know much with regards to the construction inside. Was it a fully lined jacket or not? But you know what was important is obviously comfort. If it was nice and comfortable, that's okay. But again, like I said, jacquard fabric is quite heavy. So you know it as well tailored as he was, the fabric choice is giving evening vibes where if he's gonna be DJing, and he was gonna be looking proper, with the glitz that was happening on the pants, But I think with the jacket, because it was not the same fabric with the jacket fabric and the trouser fabric were two different fabrics. I think the jacket fabric was hopsec, and hopsec is tend to be a breathable material. So again, some of these things we see them from a picture view, but again, now we are more into details. So we'll zoom in the picture and try and see the fabric as to see what's in there. So yeah, for Pori, yeah, no, Pori, I like the fit, the cut. He looked, and it was nice and easy. No tie, no nut, no bow tie. It was nice and easy shirt, silk, satin, black shirt. You know, color combos were nice. We had two colors there. It was the the ivory jacket, the black trouser, satin black shirt, easy done. And then he had his shoes. So yeah, that was yeah. So I'd say for this year, I still need to see Scoop's full look. Yeah, and yeah, man. But with regards to designers, I think um, can't ask much from them because they are the men behind these amazing looks that they see. So we can also expect them to look amazing. But it's also nice to see them, well put together, and just to say, hey, that's designers banba. It's nice. It's nice to see that. Um, but one thing I can also say, which I think we can argue about it, is that it doesn't mean if you are a designer, or even if you are a good designer, an amazing designer, doesn't mean you are also stylish. That's why I'm saying that you can be an amazing designer and make up an amazing dress, and a lady would wear it and she looks amazing. But when it comes to menswear, it's a different ball game. You design an amazing suit, they still need to style it properly for the wearer to look stylish. Yes, the suit might look amazing. I mean, we are seeing that even in Italy. During Pitu Woman, there's guys who are wearing amazing suit. You look at the fabric, but the styling, you're like, give me this suit, and hey, you know, and you get those type of guys. There's some of them that There are some who are making suits, who are just not getting it right. You feel like, hey, this one is selling suits. Wish I could do a suit for him, style them at least, you know, sit with them in their studio when they are designing their suit. Like, can we just add a bit of fabric on the sleeves, lengthen the sleeves of your jacket, lengthen the jacket length, you know, let's not do this and do that. Let's add this, so many things like your shirt collars. If you are a suit designer, your shirt needs to stand out. When somebody's wearing a shirt, we must look at that shirt and say, hey, that one you can't find it in the shop. That one. Mm-mm. So some of these shirts that are tailored, I'm like, hey, my man, that shirt, I can go to Thomas and Beno and find something better than what you are wearing, and yours is tailored. And in Thomas and Beno, I'm just gonna find the size and maybe do, you know, alterate, do some alterations here and there. But the shirt itself, when I put it there, when that shirt is on a hang and I put yours, we need to see the difference that this is an off the rack shirt and this is a tailored shirt. You know, things, those minor details of the collar of the shirt, the cuffs of the shirt. We need to see that, not uh, doing a embroidering initials of the wearer there, and then we must say that's a tailored shirt. I mean, I can take that shirt from Thomas and Beno and take it in, and they can go do embroidery there. Does it make that off the rack shirt a tailored suit, a tailored shirt? No, of course not. So there are certain things that you want to look at them and say, mm-mm, that one, that one. But again, that's story for another day. We'll talk about these things. But for now, we just wanted to, you know, put out there the Durban July review, and yeah, man, I'd like to hear your views and comments, and yeah, just feel free to engage. So, guys, that's it from me. Yours suitably, Brian Lehan. Till next time, cheers.